Good evening. Welcome to our regular City Commission meeting. I'm Nancy Bowder, and I'm Mayor Pro Tem, setting in for our Mayor Larry Dedeke this evening. We will begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent meditation. Please turn off all cell phones while we're here in the meeting, and let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. It's like the first thing we have on the agenda tonight is the new employee welcome ceremony.
Lana, new employee.
Okay, we have the first one tonight is Tiffany Thompson. Tiffany, are you here? Tiffany was hired on April 7, 2016 as a police officer. Welcome, Tiffany. Our next employee to welcome is Stephanie Alexander. Thank you. Welcome, Stephanie. Thank you. Stephanie was hired on June 2, 2016, and she is an accounting clerk. Welcome to Leavenworth. Next, we have Matt Hawk. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Here you go.
Thank you.
Matt was hired on June 2, 2016 as a police officer. Welcome to the City of Leavenworth. Next, we have Michelle Bargry. Did I pronounce your name right? Okay. I want to make sure I correct it if I don't. Welcome to Leavenworth.
Thank you.
Michelle was hired on July 7, 2016 as the Community Development Administrative Assistant. Great. Next is Jessica Polk. Welcome. Jessica was hired on August 18, 2016 as an office clerk too. Welcome, Jessica. Next is Jefferson Bohr. Welcome to all of them, Jefferson. Jefferson was hired on August 25, 2016 as a firefighter. Welcome to the City of Leavenworth. Is the proclamation next?
Yes.
Okay. Is Catherine Lees here, please? Next, we have a proclamation for Constitution Week. September 17, 2016 marks the 229th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and it is fitting to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I'm doing this for Larry Dedeke, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, do hereby proclaim September 17, 2016 as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American. with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. Thank you very much. And this is the Recognition of Constitution Week. Would you like to say a few words? No? Okay. All right. Well, you're welcome to. Okay. Thank you. Next on the agenda is old business. We have the consideration of the previous meeting minutes.
Madam Mayor, I move that we accept the regular meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2016 as presented.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the August 23rd meeting minutes. Begin with the voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That has been passed unanimously. Second consideration ordinance, number 4.
Chief Kitchens for the next several items.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, Pro Tem, and Commission, through items number 4 through 10, there are no changes to those and no additional comments. Unless there are questions, they're ready to proceed with all of those.
One question I have
Yes, sir.
for the clerk. Can we do it in one motion? Or can we do it in one roll call vote, or we have to do it individually?
We need each
Okay,
one.
okay.
Unfortunately, sorry.
Okay, so we don't do a motion or anything, we just do the roll call vote.
You call the roll, yeah.
Okay. Second consideration ordinance number 8004 of the Uniform Public Offense Code 2016.
Aye.
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 Second consider, do I say anything after that? Sorry. Second consideration ordinance 8005, standard traffic ordinance 2016.
Aye.
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 Second consideration ordinance 8006, intersection traffic control devices 2016.
Aye.
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 And that passes. Second consideration ordinance number 8007, 2016, review update Municipal Code of Ordinances, Chapter 110.
Aye.
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 Second consideration ordinance 8008, Chapter 11078, no parking anytime. Begin with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Second consideration ordinance 8009, Chapter 110, Section 11081, no parking, stopping, or standing during school hours. Roll call vote begin with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Second consideration ordinance number 8010, Chapter 110-45, turning movements on specific streets. Roll call begin with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Second consideration ordinance number 8011, home rule authorizing city to issue general obligation bonds.
Wait. You're on a roll there, but that's a different. It's not Pat
We'll
Kitchens
first one.
anymore.
Oh, I'm
I can do
sorry.
that if you want.
It was a wonderful roll, though. I just really didn't interrupt that. We could have been out of here so much faster. Sorry.
Okay. Now, home rule authorizing the city to issue general obligation bonds.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Commission, just a little background. Nothing has changed on this, but just because of the nature of the item, just quick recap. This puts the mechanism in place to be able to issue bonds to fund the industrial park, the joint industrial park with the city and Leavenworth County. This does not obligate the city to any funds, nor does it obligate the city to any parameters within the project. It simply puts the mechanism in place to be able to issue bonds at a future date.
Okay.
Okay, second consideration ordinance number 8011, home rule authorizing the city to issue general obligation bonds for industrial park. Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 And then the next one is special use parking, third in Kiowa.
Yes, this is the second consideration for, to rescind this special use parking permit for North 3rd Street between Kiowa and Kickapoo Street. There have been no changes since the reading of October 23rd. So it's ready for a roll call.
August
Is there any
23rd?
questions? I'm sorry.
August 23rd?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And did the two parties get together and they're in agreement here?
On this one, the rescind, that'll be a next item down with the contracts, but as far as rescinding the ordinance, setting that as a special use permit, it was kind of decided that it was no longer needed.
Okay.
And it had some incorrect information in it, so it was best just to resend it.
Okay.
This is just a housekeeping
Okay.
item. Okay. So the second consideration ordinance number 8012 to rescind this parking special use permit, 3rd Street between Kiowa and Kickapoo. Please begin the roll call with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay, on to the next item, which is new business. And the first item in new business is citizen participation. Any citizens are welcome to come to the podium and give your name and speak on any items that are not currently on this agenda. Do we have anyone? Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Mario Munoz. I currently have a property at 426 Limit. It's on the demo list, and I was seeing if there's any way that I could get it removed off the demo list. I have an investor that's ready to move on this property. He's got more time than I have, so we've been having problems with this property since I purchased it off of the tax sale, just trying to get it moved where somebody can do something productive with it. I currently have some pictures of when we started with the property and where I currently am with the property, if you would like to see those. I'm sure you guys drive by quite often.
Have you spoken with our city staff?
I have spoken with the city staff, and we do have a sheet right here saying what needs to be done to remove it off of the demo list.
Right.
And I have currently completed everything besides removing the plywood off of the windows. I did in 2014, I replaced all the glass, and I have a receipt from Area Wide that's saying that I did replace all that glass, and on October of 2014 is when I went by the property and all that glass was broken out, and that's why I currently do have all those windows boarded up. The investor that I have says he's going to be moving a lot faster with the property, so I just don't have enough time to be working on it.
When does he plan on taking it over?
I have to get it off of the demo list, and then I would proceed with the sale.
Okay, what is our,
This,
I have a question for Mr. Munoz. How long have you owned the property, sir?
I have owned it since, I want to say, this was in 2014. I want to say the tax sale of 2014.
And since you purchased it, is this the first time it's been on the demo list?
It was, they put it on the demo list right after I purchased it, and I did get it removed off the demo list. We put a brand new roof on it, and got it removed off the demo list, but right after I got all those windows broken out, which was, this receipt was for $1877. For those windows, they broke out more than that. There was only 2 pieces of glass on the property that wasn't broken out.
Okay.
So that's well over $2,000 worth of glass.
When you say you purchased it, would you say 2014?
I believe it was in 2014.
Okay. And it was on the demo list. You
Purchased it, and then they put it on the demo.
Then they put it on the demo list. And to get it off the demo list, you say you
I
put it
originally
on
had
a
a-
roof, or did you ask for consideration to have it removed from the demo list while you worked on it?
No, I had to get the roof, and I put the roof on it right away, and then I had to, and then I replaced the glass at the same time. And then the windows occurred when they were all broken out.
So you're telling us right now that it's got a new roof,
It has a brand new roof on it.
and the windows being broken out, and just because the windows are broken out, it's on the demo list now?
Well, I'm sure you've seen the property.
Yeah.
It's right there on the corner, right next to the guidance center. It just aesthetically not pleasing with the boards being up on the windows. I didn't want to put new windows back in it until the interior was ready for a tenant to move in there, that somebody would be there constantly to watch.
When, Mr. Kramer, when does it come back to the city commission
No,
for?
public hearings.
October 11th is the public hearing.
Okay. I can't speak for the commission. My thoughts are you've got between now and October 11th to roll on, get that thing moving, and it'll be taken off if there's action taken. But we've had, I'm not saying you, Mr. Munoz, but we've had myriad of homeowners come up and say, I'm going to do this, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it doesn't happen. We've taken them off the list, and we've been played a few times.
Well, I do have,
This has some action, but I don't even think that we can take any action tonight. Well, possibly we can, but I'd sure like to hear from city staff, especially from our planning department, to see what their recommendation is.
I have a list of the recommendations, and like I said, I can show this to you, and the only thing that hasn't been removed off the list was the windows.
Okay.
And I have, we just repainted the house, I have pictures of the paint and stuff like that, if you would like to see the list and pictures of it.
Mayor
Well,
Pro Tem,
Go
I'm not
ahead.
comfortable with removing this off the list,
No,
and we really
I don't
can't
think
take
we
that
can do
action
it
tonight, no. It would-
Without hearing from city staff, we can't take that action
Yeah.
tonight.
And I don't,
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with taking off the list just because you're telling us that it's up for sale. We usually don't even do that if it's up for sale. That does not mean that your new investor is going to meet the needs of our community in improving that property. So I would prefer to let it go through the process that it's goes through, and that we can, on our individual basis, we can check with staff where that property is at and what you've done to meet the requirements that are that were put upon you on doing that. But that's my feeling tonight. You can,
I agree.
yeah.
Ms. Munoz, I believe that you can meet with city staff and planning director specifically, Ms. Hurley, and she can bring a recommendation to the city manager, am I correct? And say our recommendation is this be removed from the demolition list. And once again, we can't do that tonight because we have to put it on as an agenda item. And I'm not doubting that you have done that, so if you have done that, see Ms. Hurley, and I'm sure she's in agreement, she's a very reasonable person. She'd come back to us in the next week or at an appropriate time, the next regular meeting, and make a recommendation that it be removed. But as for it being removed right now, probably not.
Okay, so I just was really wanting to get to know what the process I guess I would need to do. But it's not currently for sale because it is on the demo list. That was my, what I was saying.
I understand. I
okay.
understand.
Contact Ms. Hurley and see if you can work with her on this, and then she'll advise us, okay?
Okay. thank you.
Mr. Munoz, my personal thoughts are, if she recommends taking it off the demo list, I'd be in favor of that. But if she says, you know, these things haven't been done, but you say, well, I can't get it done, but my new buyer's going to get it done, I don't know how she's going to react. I know that I'm not going to be in favor of that because that's going to just stretch the inevitable. If it takes, you know, $2,000 to fix it up, and your new buyer wants it, put the $2,000 in and raise your price $2,000 or work out something. But some action has to be taken that it's no longer a blighted property.
The only problem that I was having is that the windows were, I mean, not even 2 weeks later, broken out right after I put them in. And
Did your insurance cover you on that?
the insurance, I haven't been able to get the property insured because of that. Because the windows were out. I couldn't get it insured because there was no roof on the house when I purchased it.
But now it's got a roof on it, you can get the place.
Yeah, but
insured.
it's still, there's no windows now.
But you can still get it insured for, you know, a construction site, if you will, for vandalism or things like that.
Okay, but you're talking, you know the deductible on that's $2,000.
Yeah, but you can see our point, that our purpose is to either get blighted properties improved or get them removed. And if we see no action, it's better for us to remove it. But if we see some positive action, and the city planning director, she'll be able to work with you on that. But I think this commission will probably want to see some real action, not, I don't want to say promises, and I'm not doubting you,
Yeah.
Ms. Munoz. It's just, we
Yeah, I
we need to
understand.
move. So, but, I mean, you have time, and I recommend that you make an appointment with the city planning director.
Okay,
fairly
thank you.
quickly. But they will work with you.
Okay.
And we will too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for trying to fix up the property as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, we hate to see empty houses. Are there any other citizens that would like to speak before the commission tonight? Hearing none, let's move on. General items, full faith and tax credit increment bond issuance proceedings.
Carla?
The issue before the city commission is the proceedings for the full faith and credit increment bond series 26-A, which are the TIP bonds. The bond sale was held today at 11 a.m. You have in front of you a little packet. Page 3 of the packet shows the bonds, the bids that were received today. There were 4 bids that were received. The low bid was from Central States Capital Markets for an interest rate of 1.609294.
What page are you on, excuse me?
It's in, you have a small little handout that was put on the dais for you that looks like this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I was looking in the packet.
And that's the results of the bid.
Got it, thank you.
The bond sale today. And page 3 of that shows the 4 bidders and their interest rates. I'll go
Okay.
ahead and just read those so we have it on record. UMB Bank, interest rate of 1.617543. Country Club Bank, 1.691095. And Commerce Bank was 1.907517. Staff would recommend that we accept the bid from Central State Capital Markets for 1.609294 for those TIF bonds. There's actually 2 actions that you'll need to do. The first one, if you don't have any questions,
Okay.
and you want to accept that bid, the first one would be to accept that bid, and then the second one would be a roll call vote for second consideration of the ordinance for those TIF bonds. First consideration was read on August 23rd, the last regular meeting. There's only been one small change that we made to that. We didn't have to make anything after the bid opening, but there was one small change in section 5. Since we knew that the mayor was not going to be here this evening, we amended that to read the mayor or the mayor pro temp could sign those documents.
Okay.
Other than that, there were no changes to that ordinance.
Okay, are there questions?
No.
I guess we need a motion to accept the bid.
Madam Mayor, I move that we accept the bid for the sale of the bonds as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 Motion is passed. Second consideration ordinance number 8013, full faith and credit tax increment bonds, series 16-2016A. We need a roll call vote on this. Are there any questions on
Need a
that?
motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I
No,
had
she
that wrong
changed
on
that.
the,
She changed it.
on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
It is a roll call. so
Oh,
it's-
It is
okay.
a roll call vote
Okay.
on that, so are there any questions on that?
No.
If not, begin with the roll call with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 It's passed, that is passed, and we move on to the mayor's appointments. Youth Advisory Commission. Which page? Mayor Dedekey recommends the following appointments to the Youth Advisory Commission. To appoint Charlie Peterson to a term ending June 30th, 2019, and to appoint Colton Unden to a term ending June 30th, 2019. Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the mayor's appointments as presented.
Second?
Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 That has been passed. The next item on the agenda is a request for a waiver of a use permit fee.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, I'm before you tonight to request the waiver of a use permit fee. The city recently posted an unimproved alley on West 7th Street between Oak and Walnut Streets, no parking. And I'll orient you here if the projector works. Otherwise, there's a picture in your packet. You see at the north end of the picture is the Swan painting, and this comes up a little bit on the west side of that street, West 7th Street. About 75 foot back from the street, the alley ends with a barricade and then drops down into an unimproved wooded area. We had numerous complaints from residents about the area about activity back there. Due to the unimproved nature of the alley, we went ahead and posted that no parking. However, there is a residence that just by the layout of the property, that's the entrance to the alley, and that represents the only access to drive for that property on the corner.
Okay.
And it's actually the only property affected. The barricade you can see at the end there, straight ahead, is the end of the alley, into the alley that's accessible. The rest is in a wooded area. So technically that homeowner who's probably parked there for 50 years would be in violation because they would be parking if part of their car was in that alley, if that makes sense. You can see the tire ruts leading to
Right.
that. So I'm asking, the city staff can issue a use permit to allow them to park, but only the city commission can waive the permit fee to allow them to park there. So I'm asking the city commission to waive the permit fee so that this person can continue to park in her driveway without getting a ticket for parking in a no parking zone.
Okay, so this has been basically it's a no parking driveway alley?
Essentially, it's
Here.
an unimproved alley, but it's also the entrance to her driveway.
Got it.
We don't want people whose property does not abut there to be able to park there because it's essentially her driveway. So we posted a no parking.
Okay.
Except for her.
Except for her,
Okay.
since that she's the abutting property owner and it is the access to her driveway.
Okay, got it.
Have we gotten a lot of revenue over the last 50 years on parking tickets?
The other part of that is the commission's the only one that can waive that fee, and I'm also asking for authority to be able to, we have to do this annually just based on statute. I would like to be given the authority to waive that fee annually. So every year she doesn't have to come back, or I don't have to come back
Yeah.
to the city to waive the fee to let her park in her parking.
I have a question, since this is such a weird property, and
Yeah.
we do have some weird situations in Leavenworth, but is there a more permanent solution to deeding her that property so it's, so it actually is part of her driveway?
It's actually a utility easement as well, so I don't know that we could do that without a lot of problems. We looked at some solutions, and this seemed to be, although it looks like quite a bit of a to-do over somebody parking their own driveway, it's probably the easiest solution right now.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Please come up and state your name.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah.
Please state your name.
I'm Neely Stallings. I'm the resident here.
Okay?
And that's my little gray house, and I maintain that area between my house and my neighbor there, Kristen, in the greenhouse. It's really not going to be, it's only going to be an occasional thing if I had like more than 2 people come over, if somebody wanted to be right there in the little gravel for a few hours. But we would be there. It's kind of a utility easement for the utility pole there. So
Right.
there would always be somebody there in case a utility vehicle needed to access that little causeway.
Okay, yeah. No, I was just looking for a
Permanent.
long-term permanent solution for some of the unusual things that come up in our community and that,
Right.
so, and it was just an inquiry, not really, against, I was just hoping there were some other options.
Okay, good.
And I
Thanks
also
for,
am getting ready to get a new roof on the whole, even the garage there, so the roofer may need to go up in there a little bit to,
Okay.
take the shingles off.
Okay,
Thank you for clarifying that. for us.
thank you so
You're
much,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, that's, hey, it was
So
a
the
good,
authority to waive the use permit fee, and then the authority for the city manager to, on a yearly basis, waive that fee,
okay.
would be the motion.
Do we have a motion for that?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the request for the waiver for the property at, did we give an address?
518 West 7th Street.
518 West 7th, and also provide the city manager the authority to annually waive the permit fee beginning in 2017 and beyond.
A second.
There's been a motion and a second. Begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 That's passed 4-0. Okay, employee benefit plan.
Lana, take it away.
Lana.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners, presented for your review and approval is the recommendation for renewal with our current policy providers for employee benefit coverages to include medical, dental, and vision for our new plan year that would begin December 1st of 2016. We have once again managed to go through the renewal process with United Healthcare, and after much debate back and forth, regardless of our experience ratings, which has gotten a little bit better this year, but still is not where it needs to be. But with the market trends being between 6 and 8% without experience being a factor, our final renewal came in from United with a 5% increase with our current plan design, no changes. Along with that, Delta Dental came in with a 4% renewal. We had a rate cap this year with them for 6%, and we have another rate cap next year with Delta Dental for 6% as well. That will be the end of our 3-year rate cap, 6% guarantee, but they did come in below budget with that as well. And BSP, once again, also no plan design changes with a flat renewal, so no increase for the vision. Overall, we have had some ups and downs, but United has served the employees well. We have gone back and forth with them again over multiple years. They have given us concessions over multiple years with where our increase truly should have been. We probably should have been in the double digits this year. With the change that you approved through the budget process and making some slight revisions to the employee cost for single coverage, that also led to our favor with the 5% renewal with United this year. So with the increases coming in below the budget projections, I am recommending, and staff is recommending, renewal with United Healthcare, Delta Dental, and VSP for vision coverage for the new plan year effective December 1st, 2016. Open enrollment meetings will be held as usual around mid-October, giving employees the chance to come change coverage options, add dependents, drop dependents at that point in time for coverage to take effect December 1.
And Madam Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, I'd like to address your attention to the bottom paragraph under budget impact. Staff is also requesting, it's really consensus to apply a portion, about 38% of that savings, to the mid-year CASI. When we presented the budget to the City Commission, we presented to the Commission a employee compensation of a 2% cost of living increase done at mid-year. Essentially, that's a 1% annual, but we moved it to the mid-year for obvious reasons. And while the Commission doesn't approve the pay plan, they're just advised of the pay plan, and we have the authority, because we presented 2% mid-year, and we'd like to go to 3% using 38% of the savings, we wanted to bring it back for consensus. Should you choose not to do it, we'll stick with the 2% mid-year, but the recommendation would be to go to the 3% mid-year, which is really 1.5% on an annual basis cost of living with no merit increases.
So are there costs of insurance going to go up
No, the cost of insurance went down
to them, for the employees?
for the city, for
All right,
everybody,
for the city,
because
but
of the
the
renewal
employees'
rate
share
when
of
it came
that.
back in.
Okay.
Right, and so with that savings, we'd like to use a percentage of that, about 38% is how it works out, to go from a 2% mid-year cost of living increase to a 3% mid-year cost of living increase for city employees.
So it's basically moving from one budget to another then, right?
It's right, and that's why it doesn't have to be approved. We have the authority, it's general fund, all done under the general fund. It
Right.
doesn't affect the budget, there's no budget increase, which is why we don't have to republish a budget or anything. But because we do present it to you that way, I didn't want to do anything that went against what was presented to the commission. But we do have the authority, but I would still like the consensus should the commission choose to do that.
We want our blessing to alter what, or a little
Right,
bit of what we,
because we did
yeah.
do it, we wanted
But
to
there's
be
no
as transparent
budget
as
impact,
possible.
it's budget
There is
neutral.
no budget impact. And we actually
Okay.
still realized quite a bit of savings from the increase that we're not putting into employee benefits. We're just one more percent is what we're requesting.
The increase that we're not getting.
Mr. Kramer,
Insurance companies.
well, does that mean everyone gets a 3% increase mid-year?
Mid-year,
Everyone, so
yes,
Cost of living.
regardless of performance?
yes.
Okay, so I know most cost of living increases in industry and government's tied to, you know, the consumer price index or something. This one's not. We're just calling it a 3% raise.
When we first did it, it was below the consumer cost index because it was
Yeah.
essentially 1% annual.
Right.
That I decided to do, only way to maximize that is to wait till mid-year. You get less, but you get more in the long run if you get the 2% of mid-year. So when we added the percent, we just did it that way, but it's not tied to any kind of
Okay,
consumer price
and
index.
are there any merit increases this year?
No, when the pool was so small when we did it the first time that it didn't make sense to do a 1% merit and a 1% or a 0.5% Cassie, so we just did the 2% mid-year, which is less than the merit, because the merit that we do is 0.23, so it averages out to 2.2%.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So it's actually a much smaller compensation package originally, and this one gets it closer to what it was.
Okay.
Okay.
And the merit is in place for 2016. It would be 2017 that it would come out.
Yeah, next year.
I don't have a problem with making the alteration to the budget from 2% to 3%.
Shifting the money, not
Yeah,
budget.
yeah,
Right.
shifting it from there to
Right,
the
right, what is
Cassie.
health savings?
I'm agreed.
Okay, so I need it on this, wait a minute.
But yeah, you need a motion though
I need a motion on this.
for the
For the first.
health insurance.
For the health insurance
Madam Mayor, I
changes.
move that we approve the health benefit changes as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 Thank you.
That's passed 4-0. And then requesting approval to apply the portion of budget savings. We just need a consensus for
Right.
this?
You got it. Yes.
Okay, is there consensus? Yes, I agree. Next item on the agenda, bids, contracts, and agreements.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem and Commission, the next two items are the result of the compromise reached between Riverside Resources and the Sisters of Charity and the determination by the city that the parking requirements would meet all of our requirements based on how this broke out. The first agreement is with the Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope to transfer the city-owned property. If you'll remember the diagram, these would be the two westerly lots that would be turned over to that group for there is a reversion clause in this should they choose not to build the property or the project. The city would have the first right to purchase the property back for the price that we sold it, which is $10.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, that's good.
Anything else that I left out, Carol or Carla? I'm sorry.
That's pretty much it.
And we do have representatives here in the audience tonight.
And this is the agreement both sides kind of hashed out.
Right. It's reflected in the contract. But this is the actual contract of the city conveying the land.
Okay.
You have, do any of the representatives have any comments in regard to this? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the real estate contract with Leavenworth Interfaith Community of Hope to transfer the city-owned property on North 3rd and Kiowa.
A second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 4-0, it's passed. The next item is the Riverside Resources contract.
Again, this reflects the agreement reached between the city and Riverside Resources, and I do believe Riverside Resources has a representative in the audience.
Okay. Are there any other questions in regard to this contract, or would someone like to speak from Riverside Resources on this?
If you have any comment, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
quick question. If the first one doesn't go through, does this one become null and void? If we have a reversion clause in the first one,
No.
and for some reason that doesn't proceed, does this one become null and void or not?
No, they're not tied together.
They're not, and
This
we're not.
is the same where we do have the reversion clause. Should they ever want to, they can't sell it to a fast food place. We have the first right to repurchase, so they couldn't profit off it. But if the Sisters of Charity project does not go through, no, they're not tied together.
Okay, okay.
So Riverside Resources would still be using this then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay.
Madam
So-
Mayor, I move that we we enter into the real estate contract with Riverside Resources to transfer the city-owned property on North 3rd and Kiowa as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 It's passed 4-0. The next item on the agenda is the bid for Riverfront Community Center railing.
Steve Grant, our Parks and Recreation Department Director, handle this one.
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Pro Tem, Commissioners. This, you'll recall, this is the bid for the protective railing out front of the community center. At the July 26th meeting, you'll recall we brought forth a design concept. The consensus that night was to move forward. So I put a bid pack together, and we put it out to bid, open bids on September 1st. We received just one bid from one vendor. That was Payos Custom Decks and Construction, LLC, in the amount of $23,800. Payos has done work for us in the past. They did fencing work out at the sports field, number 5, that field that we added, as well as all of the fence work at the dog park and the realignment of the fence that we did out there at the dog park last year. We're very comfortable with the work they've done. It's been very satisfactory. So with that, I do recommend the bid of Payos Custom Decks in the amount of $23,800. There's $20,000 in the 2016 CIP for this. The remainder, $3,800, would come out of the community center building repairs budget.
Okay.
We did check with local contractors about why they didn't bid. Steve met personally with them and just inquired. And
Okay.
I don't know, Steve, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
There was a little bit of hesitation with the project. One being that it's a protective guardrail, so sometimes it can be a little bit out of the realm of a comfort factor for a fencing company, as well as requiring that it's core drilled into the existing sidewalk, so there's a different labor intensity about that. So that was some of the hindrances as far as people wanting to bid on it.
Okay. Any other questions regarding this item?
No.
Okay. If not, do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the contract with Payos Custom Decks and Construction in the amount not to exceed $23,800 for the protective railing replacement project.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 It's been passed 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, bids for drainage improvements between 16th and Holman.
Down on the Public Works Director.
Thank you. Madam Mayor and Commissioners, this is one of the large projects that was identified a few years ago related to improving flood situations in various areas of the community. This will repair an existing large diameter storm sewer that runs from Viola Street between 16th and 16th Terrace south down to almost Lemon Street. Part of it will be repair, some of it will be a new alignment. It will run for the most part through people's backyards where there's an existing system. We had plans prepared by a local engineering firm, worked really hard to get the project so that it made constructible sense. Our staff was able to obtain easements from all the involved property owners, and at that point we were ready for bid and advertised it regionally as we do. Received a number of good bids. There was a lot of interest in the project. The low bid is received from Blue Nile Contractors. which is a company from Claycomb, Missouri that we have not worked with before. Tammy Schneider of our office obtained a list of projects from them and contacted any number of references. I think most tellingly is this company has done considerable work for Kansas City, Missouri in water and sewer jobs, as well as a variety of projects throughout the region. And basically the work has been done satisfactory. Occasional performance issues were identified in the discussion with references. Following up with those, we do not believe there was any, I would say, fatal flaws in the company. It's just an acknowledgement that we will get a project, we expect to get a project that meets our specifications. We will probably need to have a greater presence in the field with our inspection forces and perhaps a more aggressive meeting schedule than we might have. Typically, we would meet on site, big meetings once a month and a meeting weekly. We may meet more often than that with more people, sort of thing. So I cannot explain why that they have such a large difference between.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I suspect that they are interested in the city getting to know about their company. They offer some other products that we did not approve for use for lining large diameter sewers on this project, because it is on the outer edge of their experience level with that. But I think that as we go on with other projects, they do have products that we may find advantageous. And my guess is this was a decision on their part, that they wanted us to get to know them.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it looks good. I mean, it's sure a lot lower than any of the others, so.
Mr. McDonald,
We'll
with
see how they go.
what you said that you're going to take some more on-site inspection or more meetings, is there an additional cost to that?
Most of this inspection will be done with our forces. We're wrapping up our really busy summer, so we have greater resources to apply to that. There is a possibility that if we do have people on vacation or complex parts, that we'll rely to some extent with some contract inspection with one of the firms. But at this point, we are not anticipating that. And Napier Engineering did the design. Typically, we would ask them to get involved, making sure that things are built as they intended to be in the plans and specifications. I don't anticipate much outside inspection costs, and be fairly limited if it were.
Okay.
We're dealing with, you're in people's backyards. How has the conversation been going with the homeowners that were going to be affected by this? And a time frame? Because it's heading into the colder months
Right.
here.
I have to ask Mike Hooper if I get this wrong, but most of the properties are rentals. However, there are several very much owner-occupied homes. They were the ones that were most interested in the progress of the project and spent considerable time going over the details, because it literally is going through the middle of their yards.
Sure, yeah.
I expect that the contractor will probably want to get started in the next 30 days, and this is probably, I think, a 60 or 90 day.
Yeah, 90 days is, I believe, what we'll put on the contract, so it should be completed
Done before the
within 90
first of the
days.
year then, around the
Yeah,
first of the
right.
year.
And it's not saying it won't be muddy and that sort of thing, but we're going to keep an eye on conditions to make it bearable for the residents, but it's not like you're digging up their driveways. You're going to be, the digging part's going to be in the backyards. The old system that was installed in, the late 70s, early 80s, was built without junction boxes where the pipe may bend, so we'll be digging some holes and putting in big manholes at those locations. And then there's a dog-legged section in this that will be straightening out and tying into the new creek section that we did just off Lemon Street.
Okay.
Will most of the work be done in the area of this red box on our map?
Yes,
Is that
the
where the
entire project basically starts at the one end where it says 16th Street, and it'll run basically straight south to 11th Street parallel to 16th Street.
You know, the two problem, I don't want to say problem properties, but two properties that have had problems, one on the north end of 16th Terrace and one in the middle on the east side of 16th Street. Will this help alleviate some of their issues?
No, it's really not related to that.
Not related to that at all.
There are some other houses in the lower end of that area that are be north of Viola Street that this should improve their situation, where they, in fact, the pipe under Viola Street is gets constricted. This will improve that, but I won't say it will keep them from ever flooding or anything.
But it'll allow for greater flow coming down that hill.
Yeah, but it will not address the situation at the north end of 16th Terrace or
Okay.
Are we doing something about that?
be hiring engineers this fall.
Yeah,
Okay.
2016 design, 2017
Got
construction.
it. I couldn't remember what we talked about before with that, but, okay. All right, any other questions or discussion regarding this?
No.
If not,
Nope.
I would take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the bid for the drainage improvement project between 16th and Pullman and award it to Blue Nile Contractors in the amount of $268,760.15.
A second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Preisinger.
Aye.
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 It's passed 4-0. Okay, the consent agenda.
Don't have
Got one
one
more.
Got one
Oh, I'm
more.
sorry. Oh, and loader. Sorry. That's your big phrase. Purchase of a front end loader.
Mike Cooper?
Yep. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. The street division usually has 2 rubber-tired loaders to share between the street department, the brush dump, and the other departments that have a necessary need for equipment and everything. And through the summer, they usually can get by with one of those loaders. In April of this year, the transmission went out of one of our loaders. After researching and getting prices on the repair of it, it was going to cost a minimum of $24,000 to put a new transmission in the loader. That loader is a 2004 model that the city purchased in 2009 as a used piece of equipment. After considerable discussion, staff decided that it was probably not best to go ahead and fix that piece of equipment because of the cost of the repairs and the value of the equipment. So it was decided that we would research renting a unit through the end of this year, because in 2017, the equipment replacement program has it scheduled to replace a front-end loader.
Okay.
So we decided to pursue that. We put some specs together, notified the various vendors that supply that piece of equipment. We received bids. There's a list of the bidders in your packet. We actually received bids from Foley Equipment, Victor L. Phillips, Sellers Equipment, and Road Builders. After receiving the bids, the street department asked all the vendors to supply a piece of equipment that they were bidding for our use for a couple of days as a demonstrator to see how those pieces of equipment worked out. We evaluated that and came to the conclusion that the Doosan DL 220-5 rubber-tired loader was the best piece of equipment for the city to look at trying to rent for this year. So staff is asking that the City Commission approve the rental of that for that piece of equipment in the amount of $3,825 per month, with all those rental payments going towards the purchase of that equipment at the end of the year, with a total purchase price of $144,852. Ed Davis is here, as well as myself. We can answer any questions you may have.
The reason that it wasn't the low bid, which is only a couple of $1,000s difference with the road builders, was power requirements.
Right.
If you look at the road builders, the horsepower is considerably less, and when running it through the test, they determined that the horsepower of the road builders was not sufficient
Okay.
for operations.
Okay.
And that purchase price does include the addition of the 5-year full warranty
Okay.
on that piece of equipment.
When, If we approve this, when will you get delivered?
They said it would be within 30 days.
Okay, where's Sellers Equipment out of?
They are out of Olathe, Kansas.
So they were able to bring one up and,
They said they have one in Texas sitting there now that they could bring up here.
but
That's why
they brought one up that you could use?
they did bring one
And you
up.
liked it?
Well, they did not, the county has the Doosan loaders, and they've had them for a couple of years, so our staff did go out to the
Okay.
county and
Okay,
check the
so you're happy with it?
Yeah.
And these are new equipment, not used
Right.
equipment.
Right.
That's good.
So all that you're asking right now is that we rent it, and is it another action in January to purchase this thing, or are we doing, what are we doing tonight?
No, we're doing the rental
The rental.
purchase.
The
Rental.
agreement is for the rental as well as the purchase after the first of the year.
So
The
we're-
unit would have to be purchased before January
Do
30
we,
next.
so do we approve the
2017.
purchase today for
Yeah,
what's
the whole-
happening?
the contract.
The whole thing, okay,
Yep.
okay.
But it was in the budget to replace it next year, so it's not anything
No,
that
you're
we
just,
weren't already aware of.
Right.
yeah, we're just doing it a little earlier than
Just doing a little earlier
anticipated.
than, yeah, okay.
We're doing a rental.
I have no
for
problem
3
with
months.
that.
For 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve the rental purchase agreement with Sellers Equipment in the amount of $144,852.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 It passed 4-0, and look forward to you getting your equipment.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Pretty
I
neat
guess
looking.
now are we ready
Now
for
we're
the
on the consent agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Madam Pro Tem Mayor, I would like to submit the claims for August 20th, 2016 through September 9th, 2016 in the amount of $1,810,466.65. This is net amount for pay number 18, effective September 2nd, 2016, in the amount of $288,378.48. This is no fire and no police pension.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please begin voting with Commissioner Weekly.
Aye.
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 All those in favor? Passed 4-0. Okay, are there any other items we need to discuss tonight that any commissioners would like to address or speak about?
I just driven by the hotel, or the proposed site of the new hotel, and I see that there's a bobcat in there, and that's about it. And I know they're supposedly going to start the day after Labor Day. Any just quick updates?
If you look a little closer in the
And there's a little path in there too.
in
I'm sorry.
the foot tall grass, there's actually all the erosion equipment's inside the site now, all the silt fencing and all that stuff. You just can't see it because the grass is so high.
Okay.
And
When are
then,
they going to start
Not
working?
exactly
And that
progress.
path actually is the entrance for the construction equipment.
Yeah, I know.
And they were working pretty early this morning, but then they stopped.
Yeah, of course.
because of the
I watched
rain,
out
so-
today. Okay.
Well, they were asking about it groundbreaking.
Yeah, so
No.
Are there any other comments?
No.
Comments?
Yeah.
I do like that we had a proclamation about the Constitution tonight. I think it's so important for people to understand the Constitution, and that our children especially understand it. So
I very
I think
much
it's great that we have a special week to recognize that. I don't have anything else. Mr. City Manager, anything from you?
just if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about the purchasing policy that I presented last week, in the next couple of weeks, get in touch with the
Okay.
Commissioner Weekly came in the other day, so if you have any comments, let me know.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Good.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Please begin voting.
Aye.
Weekly.
Aye.
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 There we go.
We are adjourned.
Good.